Hey y'all, hey, we're back again today, and today I'm going to be showing you guys how to add fringes to the back of a jeans jacket and also to the bottom. I'm going to be taking the jacket apart, and then I'm going to be putting the fringes in, and I'm also going to be putting the jacket back together with the ribbon of blue. So if that's something that you're interested in, come along with me and stay tuned. Okay guys, so from the first stitch on the back of the jacket, we're going to get the fringes along this side. So because this part of the jacket is over the arm, we're going to start here. So we're going to take apart that thread. We're cutting the thread open to loosen the jacket from being attached to the bottom of the back of the jacket. Once we get that up, and we're just tugging on the thread stitching, okay? Make sure that when you're doing this, you try to get a thread that is similar to the one that's stitched already on the jacket. You want to get a fringe that is similar, unless the customer wants like a black or a totally different color. You know, just please your customer as best as you can. And as you can see, starting off so far, this is what we're doing. We're lifting all that thread up so that we can get under here, because this is where the fringes is going to lay down. Once you get that first couple of stitches out, the best way to get the stitches out is just to keep going backwards one by one from the bottom. It's the quickest way and also the neatest way that you do not poke a hole with the thread cutter into the jacket. Alright, so as you can see, it's coming apart pretty nicely, pretty neatly. And you do that for the whole back and also the back of the sleeve, all the way down the sleeve. So you're going to do that first, and then I'll meet you when we're done. Okay guys, so once you are done taking the thread apart from the top of the jacket, you would be able to see that you got the jacket split in half. So here goes the top of the jacket, and you can see that I got the jacket split. The only thing that's holding the jacket together is this stitch that connects the top of the jacket to the bottom of the jacket. Then you have the sleeve all the way down. It's now open. Make sure you clean off all the thread. The sleeves are open on both sides of the jacket. The sleeves are open. You see this side still has thread on it. You got to clean all that out. Clean all the thread out. Then all these long pieces of string that's hanging out of the jacket, all of this, you cut that. You clean all of that up. You see the bottom here, I only cleaned certain spots on the top, on the bottom. And then you still have these two layers of string right here, all the way down to the end of the sleeve. You get all that, you clean all that up. Then, what you're doing next, because this is the easiest way to get the ribbon of blue on there, is you're going to get your ribbon of blue. And this is just for example. I'm not actually using this color. I'm using a dark navy blue. Excuse me, guys. I'm super sorry about that. Okay, like I said, I'm not using this color ribbon of blue, but this is just for example. You're going to get your ribbon of blue, and you're going to stitch it onto the top part of the jacket where the stitching was for the sleeves. Also for the back. So where the stitching shows upright, not the bottom part, the top part, you're going to go ahead and take the jacket to your sewing machine and get the ribbon of blue on there. That is after you remove all the strings, okay? After you get all of this stuff, rip all this stuff out, get it all out, rip it all out. As you can see, it comes out pretty clean. But yeah, get all the thread out, and then let's go get the ribbon of blue on there. Okay guys, so the first stitch that I'm doing with the ribbon of blue, this is actually the color that I'm using, is a navy blue color, is, you guys see the dark spacing from the first stitch. I am lining up the ribbon of blue right on top of that, and I'm following the top part of the stitch. When I say the top part, I'm talking about this part right here. Okay, I'm doing the stitch on that part first, so that when I close the jacket, when I close the jacket, I'm going to be stitching the bottom stitch, and I'm going to be going over the top stitch with the correct color. That color is the color that matches the jacket. So we have color chestnut. This is that matches the stitches of the jacket. We're going to be going back over with the stitches of the jacket. But first we're going to get the ribbon of blue on there and secured, so that way we can go ahead and secure the fringes on there. So let's go. Alright guys, so I want to show you what the ribbon of blue looks like. If you guys can see that right there. Let me see if I turn my light on. Okay. So here goes the ribbon of blue. I folded the ends. This part is still lifting up because I did not stitch that down yet. So I stitched the ribbon of blue all the way down the sleeve. All the way down the sleeve. And when you get to this part, you leave it out because you have to hand stitch this part. It's not going to go through the machine. Okay? So you see I folded it. I went as much as the machine could go, and then I left it out. This part is the part that hooks the sleeves together and the jacket together. Here goes the back of the jacket. The ribbon of blue is all the way through the back of the jacket. Again, it is not stitched down on the bottom, just the top. Over here, again, I left some ribbon of blue out. And then this side, of course, is the rest of the other sleeve. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to get a needle and thread, and I'm going to stitch the ribbon of blue down. I'm going to get a needle and thread. I'm going to keep this lifted up, and I'm going to hand stitch this part of the ribbon of blue all the way across that bulky part right here, this bulky square, and I'm going to stitch it all the way up around to this side, to the sleeve. So we're connecting the back to the sleeve, the back to the sleeve on both sides, and that's with a needle and thread. Okay everybody, so I have hand stitched the ribbon of blue down. It has now been connected all the way across. What I'm going to do now, and I have already done that on the other side of the jacket, is I am going to take the fringes and I have pinned the fringes in place. Why have I pinned the fringes in place? Because what I'm going to do with the fringes is, my first step is to stitch the fringes down. Oh boy. My first step is to stitch the fringes down with the correct thread on the top, so that when I close the jacket, I stitch the bottom down, and it's going to be easier for me to stitch the bottom down with the fringes already attached to the jacket. Okay, so you pin the fringes in place, and then you stitch the top with the sleeve still open. With it still open, this is what the bottom looks like. This is what the bottom looks like. And then when you flip it over, that's what the top looks like. So you're just stitching that first thread, that first stop. Okay, y'all, so my customer has decided to go with the more lighter color fringe. So what I have done so far is from the inside of the jacket, once you go into the inside of the jacket, I have stitched the fringes on to the top part of the jacket. As you can see, it's still not sewed on as yet. So I stitched the fringes on right under the ribbon of blue, just to make sure that it's secure and it's even. And then when you're putting this part of the jacket back together, which is the very back of the jacket, you have to understand that if you try to go from left to right or from right to left, that the jacket is going to leave a space because for some reason it has a stretch in it. So you want to make sure that when you're putting the jacket back together that you start from the center and stretch it evenly and pin it in place so that when you're ready to close it, you're not ending up with a hole anywhere. So the ribbon of blue is still on there. I'm going to start with the bottom and I'm going to secure the bottom. And then after I secure the bottom of the ribbon of blue, which will lock the fringes into the place and close the jacket back up, then I'll go over the top. At this point, because we are closing the jacket up, we are going to go ahead and add the thread color that we need. We're not going to use the black thread. We're going to use the chestnut colored thread, which would be the brown color thread. And we're going to stitch the jacket together. So you guys make sure that you change the color of your thread, okay? Change the color of your thread before you start. Okay guys, so the sleeves are a little bit more difficult to do. They are very hard when you're ready to close out the bottom stitch. Now the top stitch is very easy. You just stitch the very top. You slide the jacket in from this corner over here. You slide the jacket in from this corner over here and you stitch that very top one. And then normally the bottom is still open. But when you are stitching this bottom row, you have to kind of like feed the sleeve into the machine. And by the time you get like halfway down the sleeve, almost like to that very V-stitch part right there, man, I tell you, it's so tight and hard that it is crazy to close. It's really hard to close that part. So you have to like take your time. And when I say take your time, I mean take your time, because you don't want to stitch the jacket together. You do not want to stitch the sleeves together. So you're taking your time and you're stitching that part and you're feeding the machine this way. Okay. And then when you're done, you do the same thing for the next side. Alright guys, so like I was saying, from the top you could stitch that very first one. When it's done stitching, then you want to feed the machine from up here as well. And that's when you would start taking that bottom fold and you'll stitch it to that top fold and close the jacket off. Now guys, be very, very careful, okay? Like I said the first time, be very, very careful and finish off the jacket. And that will be the last step. And then I'll show you what it looks like when you're done. Okay, y'all, so this is the jacket, right? What I've done so far is just pin this down so that I know where to start my stitching from. And like I said, guys, this is the very most difficult part, is to close the jacket back up the sleeve. So what we're going to do is we're going to hold the sleeve open like this. And we're feeding the machine this way. I'm going to try to go up from the bottom as much as I can, and then we're going to go down from the shoulder. So here we go. So in my machine, I'm going to feed the jacket. Make sure the top sleeve and the bottom sleeve is lined up. okay? And yes, it's going to try to move, so you have to be like paying attention to it, because remember, you're feeding the jacket from the outside. It's not as easy as it looks to get it in the machine in the proper place, and also to make sure that you're not stitching the jacket closed. Okay, so now that you got it in place, you want to go forward, go backward, secure that spot very tightly. Once you got that done, this is the difficult part. I'll try to turn my machine around. This is the difficult part. You have to pull the sleeve from the bottom, and also make sure it's lined up from the top. Let me see if I can get the camera over here, just so I can show y'all what it looks like. This is what I'm looking at. I'm feeding the jacket. This is the folded part. As you can see, that's the top stitch. That's the top stitch. So what we're doing is we're lining these two stitches up. We're going to line them up like this. And then from here on this side, you're going to allow the machine to go ahead and feed that little piece right there, because you got to move little by little, okay? So just that little piece. And my finger has stopped, okay? Where my finger stopped, you stop. Then you're pulling the bottom of the jacket out of the way. You're pulling the bottom of the jacket out of the way so you can see the machine. Then you're lining up again to the bottom of your machine. You see how difficult it is for you to see in the camera? So imagine how difficult it is for me to hold the camera and also try to close this together without making any mistakes. So now you're pulling the jacket apart. You're lining it up from the top. Just that little spot that that little space you made, and you're feeding that in the machine. Again, my finger reached the machine. That's it. So you're just going to continue doing that as much as you possibly can. Get that little space right there. See the bottom of the machine. Line the bottom of the jacket up to that little space. Then line the top of the jacket on top of that. And then you keep feeding and stitching as much as you can. Once you get to a part where you cannot no longer move the jacket backwards from the bottom, then you're going to take it from the shoulder and go the opposite way and close it up, okay? All right, guys, so far from the bottom going up, I have stopped right here where my finger's at. And everywhere I stop or start, I always back stitch to secure as much of the jacket that I can. So I went back, I went forward, and I stopped right here. So I have a half of, basically I have a half of the jacket to go from the top here down as far as I can go. Okay, so we're gonna try to get that done now. Okay, so from the top, we're moving the jacket to the shoulder. All the way to the shoulder. You know that space that I told you that the machine is supposed to have on the bottom? Make sure you can see the machine. Make sure you can see the bottom of the machine so you're not stitching the jacket together the wrong way, okay? And we're going to start from the middle of the jacket across that big hump, Again, we're securing every spot of the jacket as much as we possibly can. So wherever you can double stitch, triple stitch, quadruple stitch, whatever, it doesn't matter. If you can, the more stitches, the better. So what I'm doing right now is I'm lining up the bottom of the jacket with the top of the jacket to make sure that when I do go, I go far down as I possibly can. So here we go. We're gonna start. I'm gonna go back as much as I can. Okay. And this should be the end of this. And the jacket should be complete. I'll take a few pictures. Lining up the top with the bottom. Almost there. And this was actually better than starting from the top going all the way to the bottom, that I did the half go up and then the half come down, because it closes much faster that way, and it's less tension trying to get it all closed up. Okay, so here we go. Remember, you gotta feed the machine and make sure that there's nothing under, no fringes, no extra piece of jacket, nothing under it. But right now all we're doing is closing the sleeve up. We don't want to stitch anything else. Just trying to close the sleeve up. So we're getting to the end. Trying to flatten that out. Make sure it's nice and flat. It's almost like it's bulking up a little bit, but so now we're going to go back. Okay. Now that we got that closed up, we're going to take the thread out and get my scissors, cut the thread from the top. I'm going to go into the sleeve, cut the thread from the bottom. Just so that I can get the jacket out of the machine. And you guys, that's it. The jacket is closed. The fringes is on. Now, if you would like to, you can take your time and go back and hand stitch, you know, the sleeve together if you want. But at this point, the jacket is completely closed. And it is ready for use again. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for the pictures. Please like, subscribe, share the video, and follow me on social media. Shalom.